Welcome back to the deep dive. You know that feeling, right? A tech company drops some big news, maybe a huge algorithm change or a new security thing, an API update, and the press release they put out is just, well, useless.
Oh, completely. It's either pure impenetrable jargon.
Or it's so generic it sounds like spam.
Exactly.
So that's what we're tackling today. How do you actually communicate these complex, super fast innovations effectively? How do you avoid confusing people? Or maybe worse, just being ignored entirely? We've sifted through a whole stack of sources, really digging into industry-specific PR tips just for tech companies.
Yeah.
The mission today, shortcut that process for you, give you the strategies to actually cut through the clutter.
Yeah.
Instantly.
And it's crucial because, as the sources really hammer home, the tech world plays by different rules.
Right.
Product cycles. We're talking months, maybe weeks, not years.
Right.
What was a breakthrough feature 6 months ago is just expected now, standard. So your communication has to be incredibly precise, lightning fast, and critically relevant right now to whoever's reading it.
Precision, speed, mandatory. But like you said, speed isn't enough if you miss that tiny window. The news cycle is just brutal. A 24-hour delay, you might as well have waited a month. Tech journalists get hundreds of pitches every single day.
Hundreds.
They only look at stuff that's genuinely new or ideally exclusive. If you can't get your message out the door immediately, you're already behind. Forever playing catch-up.
You are. And the targeting, well, that's completely shifted too. If you look back, PR used to aim for general business reporters, maybe a tech section.
Yeah, the old way.
Now, in tech, you're talking to super specific niche audiences, and they all demand different things.
Okay, so who are these audiences? Yeah. Because the sources seem to break it down into, what, 4 key groups, all needing different angles.
That's right. We can sort of map it out. First, you've got the developers. These are the builders, right? They don't care about marketing fluff. They need the hard stuff. Technical specs, how to implement it, API docs, functionality.
Okay, developers. Got it.
Yeah. Then, totally different mindset. Investors. They're looking for one thing, basically. Clear ROI. What's the return? What's the growth potential?
Makes sense. Money talks.
Then there are the industry analysts. They're judging your market position. How do you stack up against competitors? Is this sustainable?
The strategists.
And finally, probably the most cautious group, enterprise buyers. For them, it's all about security features, integration. How easily does this plug into their existing systems and vendor stability? Can they trust you long term?
Wow, okay. Developers, investors, analysts, enterprise buyers. It really does sound impossible to hit all those points with one single press release.
It basically is impossible.
So the strategy is you just don't try. One message doesn't fit all anymore.
That's the core insight, really. You have to create multiple versions, tailored versions of the same core announcement.
Okay.
The innovation is the same, but you frame it using the language, the priorities, the concerns of each specific group. Like, say you have a new fintech feature. For the enterprise buyer, you lead with AML compliance anti-money laundering. You prove it's secure, legally sound. That's front and center. For the developer release, that compliance stuff might be a footnote if it's there at all.
Right, because they care about the API endpoints, not the regulatory framework necessarily.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Strategic tailoring. But okay, if you're writing multiple versions, that requires serious discipline. Which brings us back to the messaging itself. How do you stop sounding like a tech manual?
Yeah.
How do we make it a story? Something that answers that basic question. So what? Why should I care?
This is the big hurdle. We need to stop thinking like engineers, just for a moment, and think more like, well, educators or storytellers.
Yeah.
The sources suggest using everyday analogies. It's a powerful technique. Simplify the complex without dumbing it down. So instead of leading with, cryptographic hash functions.
Which loses 99% of people immediately.
Right. You compare your new security thing to, say, a shared digital ledger, like a notebook everyone can see and trust, even if they don't trust each other. Simple, visual.
I like that. But what about those developers we just talked about, the ones who do need the deep specs? Are we shortchanging them if we lead with the fluffy analogy or the big benefit?
That's a really good question, and the sources definitely address that tension. You lead with the benefit, the why care, as the hook, but you don't hide the specs.
Oh.
You just shift the focus. It's not our API processes 10,000 requests per second. Full stop.
Right.
It's more like now developers can build apps serving millions without bottlenecks because our API handles 10,000 requests per second. The spec becomes the proof, not the headline.
I see. The benefit leads, the spec supports. That reframing is key. And how do we know if we've actually succeeded, if we've translated it well? One source mentioned a pretty blunt test, the 30-second test.
Yes.
30-second test. It's brutal, but essential, kind of like an elevator pitch on steroids.
How does it work? You grab someone totally outside your tech bubble, a friend, someone in marketing, anyone who doesn't live and breathes your product. You give them the core message.
Okay.
If they get the basic point, what it is, why it matters in about 30 seconds, you're golden. If they're still asking basic, what does it actually do, questions, you need to go back and simplify.
That's a fantastic filter.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say we've nailed the message, we've tailored it. Now, distribution. Relying just on the old wire services, that feels really outdated now.
Oh, completely. That approach is, well, insufficient on its own. You need a much more fluid digital-first strategy.
Like, what does that look like?
You have to adapt the content for every channel where your niche audiences actually spend time. Think of it like a content matrix stemming from the core announcement.
A matrix.
So you've got the full, detailed, SEO-friendly article on your company blog. That's your anchor.
Okay.
Then maybe a condensed version for LinkedIn, focusing on the business implications. Then even shorter, punchier updates for Twitter. Maybe visual stuff, infographics, or short demo videos for Instagram or even TikTok, depending on the product.
I often forget how powerful the company blog still is. It's not just storage, is it?
Not at all. It boosts your SEO, gives you a permanent home for the info, and crucially, lets you embed things like videos, interactive demos, stuff a plain text release can't do.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
And one thing the sources highlighted, which is maybe a bit overlooked sometimes, is the power of webinars.
Ah, interesting. Tell me more.
Webinars are huge now. They let you do live demos, answer questions in real time, build that direct connection. And the data is compelling. Some companies apparently saw engagement on their announcements triple.
Triple. Just by adding a webinar.
Just by pairing the written release with a live webinar walkthrough. It creates lasting content, too, because you record it. It builds trust very quickly.
Wow. Triple engagement isn't just incremental. That's a game changer for outreach ROI. Okay, so that covers getting the good news out. But what about when things go wrong? Crisis mode. A data breach? A big outage? The speed requirement there must be even more intense. Transparency becomes your only lifeline, right?
Absolutely. In tech crises, you're talking hours, not days. You need to react almost immediately. That crisis press release becomes the official, factual record.
So what's the structure? What has to be in there?
The sources lay out a clear structure. Lead with the facts, what you know, confirmed. Acknowledge the impact on users, don't downplay it. Detail your immediate response, what you're doing right now for remediation.
Okay. Facts, impact, response.
Provide dedicated contact info for questions. And this is critical. Set realistic expectations and timelines for fixing it. Don't overpromise.
And this is where legal has to be looped in from minute one, I imagine.
Non-negotiable. You're walking that tightrope. Be honest and transparent, but don't accidentally admit liability you shouldn't. Tricky balance.
Yeah.
Show you're responding, even if you don't have all the answers yet.
Exactly. Speed is vital, but accuracy, especially when regulators or investors might be watching, is paramount. Which leads us perfectly into the final piece. Compliance. Credibility. Long-term value. Because tech is so regulated now, one wrong word in a release can have serious legal blowback.
It really can. Legal review before anything goes out isn't optional, it's mandatory. Full stop.
What specific regulations kept coming up in the sources?
Two big ones, mainly. First, GDPR. If your announcement touches user data, analytics, anything personal, your messaging must show how you're protecting privacy according to those EU standards. Doesn't matter where you're based.
Right. GDPR is global, in effect.
And second, for public companies, SEC regulations. Fair disclosure is key. And anytime you mention the future planned features, growth forecasts, revenue projections, you absolutely need that cautionary language about risks. Forward-looking statements need disclaimers.
Got it. Boilerplate, but essential. So once legal signs off, how do we elevate this beyond just an announcement? How do we use it to build real credibility?
This is where thought leadership comes in. You want your executives to be seen as authorities, not just spokespeople. Embed expert commentary. Get your CTO's analysis of a market trend into the release. It positions them as insightful. But the real gold, original research.
Yes, proprietary data. That always gets attention.
Always. Commissioning surveys, analyzing unique data sets, publishing industry reports. That makes you a source of new news. Reporters actively look for that stuff to back up their stories. You shift from pitching them to being a valuable resource for them.
That's a powerful shift. And what about amplification? The sources mention niche influencers, not just the usual product reviewers.
Right. This is about authenticity more than just reach. Think respected developers, security researchers, key industry analysts in your specific niche.
Okay.
Like a cybersecurity company partnering with well-known ethical hackers to validate their new product before the launch announcement. That lends massive credibility. It's an endorsement that feels earned, not bought.
More authentic than a standard customer quote, perhaps.
Often, yes. It provides that third-party validation from someone the target audience already trusts.
So we've covered a lot. Precision targeting, tailoring messages, the 30-second test, digital distribution, crisis readiness, legal checks. What's the actual payoff? Why invest all this effort into what used to be a fairly standard comms task?
The payoff is concrete and measurable, according to the sources. You see enhanced brand awareness. Some companies literally doubled media mentions by getting this right.
Wow.
You get significant improved SEO. Distributing through respected tech channels builds quality backlinks, boosts your domain authority. And for stakeholders, it means stronger investor relations. Clarity and consistency build confidence, and increased analyst coverage, which, as we know, heavily influences those big enterprise deals.
It really connects all the dots. Okay, that wraps up our deep dive.
Yeah.
We've essentially distilled a ton of tech PR best practices down into actionable strategies.
Yeah, the main takeaway is really to adapt these ideas to your specific situation. Are you SaaS, enterprise hardware, B2B, B2C? It matters. Don't try to boil the ocean overnight.
Good practical advice. The sources suggested maybe starting small. Pick one thing, like that audience segmentation.
Exactly. Try rewriting your last announcement just for, say, industry analysts. See how different it looks and sounds. Track the results.
Start there, measure, and iterate. Makes sense.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. These press releases, these announcements, they aren't static artifacts. They have to live and breathe and evolve right alongside your tech and the market. The real skill here is staying authentic, staying agile, and always keeping that specific audience, their needs, their questions, right at the heart of every single thing you communicate.